Nepal also fallen prey to a proxy war between America and China? This is the reason which is being asked by many diplomats and also is being discussed within the government. So, is banning of social media apps the only reason why streets of Nepal are full of protesters, or is the real reason simmering behind the headlines we are seeing in most of the newspapers or also on TV channels? The agitation which began due to ban on social media spiraled to such an extent that the sitting Prime Minister of the country had to resign. And now, as we all believe, is about to leave the country. In all probability, what the government sources are indicating that he would be leaving for Dubai because he has a Dubai visa, and if Dubai administration or the kingdom allows him to come there, so he would be, his next destination is going to be Dubai. So the sudden churn in Nepal is being questioned by many countries, which also include India. After all, New Delhi has also been a witness to such scenes not only in Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, but also in Pakistan. So the question now is, which is now being asked is, has Nepal also fallen prey to a proxy war between America and China? This is the reason which is being asked by many diplomats and also is being discussed within the government. India is also keeping a close watch as to what is happening in Kathmandu, especially after, the turn of events which we saw on Tuesday. As per government sources, this simmering or these type of protests were happening for last couple of months, but early September, the indications were that now this government would not, sustain its time period. So, it would eventually fall. So, those indications were already being seen by people in establishment in Indian government also. We at Indian Express, we will try to explain it to you that what are the real reasons, what led to these protests, why these youngsters were on streets and why there is so much of anger. Which all these reasons are also being documented by Indian government in their files. So, we are trying to, only go by what the Indian government is documenting. As per our sources in government channels, the build-up of anger which we see in the streets is an unguided class struggle which has been going on for quite some time. That is what, sources are indicating, that as far as reading of Nepal situation, as far as India is concerned, India is saying that it is an unguided class struggle. It is based on issues which are close to all youngsters, whether it's education, unemployment, corruption or nepotism. So, these are the reasons which are being listed by the government as far as why these protests have come to such an extent that we saw that the presidential palace was also burned and the houses of many ministers were also burned. As per the government assessment, the unemployment rate among youth in Nepal is steadily increasing, which has currently reached 10.71%. The inflation rate is also about 5.2%, which is affecting lives of common people, and that is why they are agitated. About 56% of country's economic wealth is owned by 20% of people, including political leadership. This economic inequality is a major reason for the anger and frustration among youngsters. So, this is being listed as one of the reasons as to what the government believes what is unfolding in Nepal. Also, the government feels, the government sources indicate that in last 5 years, government in Nepal has changed in as many as 3 times, and each time the government changes, people aspire that this time they will be getting a stable government, but they did not. That is also one of the reasons that why people are so angry in Nepal. In fact, people are fed up of the musical chair between the two set of people who have been coming on and off, which includes Prachanda or Oli. Political instability is reflecting in decision making of Nepal also. So, this is also one of the reasons which has been underlined by the government of India as per what is happening in Nepal. So the visceral anger which is seen on the streets of Nepal, it's because of these 2-3 reasons which we have listed. In fact, on Tuesdays, protesters vandalized private residences of Prime Minister and other ministers also. They also set fire on to the iconic Hilton hotel in Kathmandu. Mind you, this hotel is also owned by one of the ruling party leaders. It was also set ablaze. So it is a fight between haves and have-nots which is being fought on the streets of Kathmandu in Nepal. Interestingly, the government sources indicate that the kind of pushback that earlier which was being seen even on Monday by army and police, was not seen on Tuesday, which comes to a due to which they are also coming to a conclusion that a tacit understanding of police and army for this regime change is also there as far as Nepal is concerned. And also another reason which has been listed by the government of India, they say that the corruption and political instability in Nepal is also happening, and side by side the reinstatement of monarchy is also gaining momentum. This is again one of the reasons, or this is another one of the assessments of the agencies who are operating in Nepal has sent back to New Delhi. The sources that we spoke to, they say that if this regime change happens, it will be a good news for India, because mind you, the closeness which Oli shared with China was well known. And in fact, when he was sworn in also, the first visit that he made was to China instead of his, a natural ally, that is India. He did not come to India, he went to China. In fact, when even these protests were going on, all these social media apps were banned, only TikTok was functioning. Again, these are the assessments, or these are the inferences which our agencies are drawing. So, what the government of India intends to do? The government of India has already circulated an advisory in which they have asked all their nationals to be safe and to keep in a safe location and not to go around in the streets. The second priority of the Indian government is to keep their embassy safe, so that it keeps operating. So that is again one of the major priorities of Indian government as far as Kathmandu is concerned. But the questions which are being raised apart from the proxy war between China and America, another question which is being raised is the timing of the chaos in Nepal is also a suspect, because it has come very close to the time when Oli was likely to visit India in September, and the strained relationship that we are witnessing between India and America. So people are also questioning that aspect also, that equation also, that matrix also. However, India is keeping a close watch as to whatever is happening in Nepal. In New Delhi, this is Neeta Sharma reporting for Indian Express.